happened in the evening when you started to fade away. Now my heart says you're leaving. I hope to see you again someday. Why did it have to happen? Why did it end this way? You know I miss you every moment. Doesn't matter if it's night, doesn't matter if it's day. I can't stop the pain inside. This is a last goodbye.
President Trump has restored the idea of America.
Keep America great! Exclamation point.
The Dow Jones made history today, closing over 26,000 points for the first time.
This is a standout report.
He's going to bring all these jobs back. Well, how exactly are you going to do that? What magic wand do you have?
Hand me down the walking cane. Hand me down my hat.
I'm going to bomb the shit out of them.
The collusion delusion is over.
You're fake news.
Unbelievable.
So dishonest.
Mr. President. Mr. President. Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President. Mr. President, are you...
That's enough. Put down the mic.
So much winning. Everything he does.
Every day is NASCAR.
Seems to come out right.
Donald Trump, keeper of promises.
And all it means is just keeping time. How in the world did he learn that? Oh, Lord. Oh, I have to get away.
I am with you. I will fight for you. And I will win for you.
America is winning again. With your help on November 3rd, 2020, can you believe it's right around the corner?
So you ready? Let's go. Let me hear it.
Make America great again. Thank you, Texas. Thank you. Goodbye, Hillary. Bye.
Hello. It's Thursday. It's 2:30 or 3:30 my time, Eastern time, 2:30 Doc's time. Doc Martin is in the house today. My cheating internet wife is in the house.
Your what? Internet wife? Did I hear
Never
cheating
mind.
come out of your lips?
So,
I am so glad to get to harass you for another day. Yes, it is Thursday. I call it day 4 of the hostage situation.
day 4 of the hostage situation. What hostage situation?
Yeah. What, having to work for a living. Day 4
Oh,
of the hostage situation. I'm living for the weekend.
do you want to be on the Bernie plan? Stay home and collect the check?
Well, that would be nice if it didn't come out of somebody else's pocketbook, but since nothing's free, I'll keep working for mine. Thank you very much. But I do look forward to my weekends, that's for sure.
Well, just
So
for
what
the
a fabulous week of winning we've had. Did you hear our wonderful POTUS last night?
I missed it because I was keeping up a little bit on the Democratic debate while I was working. So,
Well, I think he's been listening to the show because he was reiterating, as he has on, I think, at almost every rally now. If you haven't noticed, he's really ratcheting up the rhetoric. He's been telling everybody where in the midterms in 2018, he was just stressing the Senate. Now, every time you hear POTUS talk about it, he is stressing that we've got to win the House, we've got to expand our lead in the Senate, and we have got to re-elect him on my birthday, November 3rd, as my best birthday gift ever. So I was so glad because people need to hear it no matter what. After the primaries, whoever the red candidate is, we've got to vote red straight down the ticket.
Yes. We've been saying that every single week, and we have to help those working class Democrats vote red who are switching to Trump in droves. We have to help them vote red as well, all the way down the ticket.
That's right.
So,
I don't care if you have to pinch your nose, put a clothespin on it if you have to, and you put you some gloves on and you go down there and you request your paper ballot until we know different. Everybody needs to be using paper ballots. It's as safe as we can make it for this election because remember, we've got to have such a huge turnout that we overcome any of their cheating ways because we know that those left-wing lib nuts are famous for their cheating. So we've got to be strong enough to overcome that and still hand POTUS a landslide.
well, we talked about that last week, as mentioned on the Boogie Bumper Show. I think it was on Tuesday night. Spoke about how we can claim they cheated all they want, maybe even prove it, but nothing's going to happen to the candidate that wins. So we can't rely on anybody doing anything about the cheating. We have to overwhelm them with numbers.
Exactly. Just like we did in 2016. Because we know that cheating was rampant in 2016. We were the silent majority had woken up enough that we had enough people to overcome the cheating. Well, they know we're coming for them this time, so they're going to be cheating in greater numbers and in greater ways because they've got everything to lose, and we have everything to gain. We lose everything if we don't win as well because I'm just telling you, if we get a Bernie Sanders in there or a mini Mike in there that is going to tell us how to live, it isn't going to be pretty for the future for our kids. It's just not going to be.
No, it won't. Absolutely not. You're 100% correct on that. And we have to work hard. Everybody has to put in at least an hour or two a week to help their candidates win. And we did ask them last week to spend 15 minutes going to the Telegram room and the Twitter page to retweet. There's about 135 memes out there created already for the candidates on the Republican side.
Can you put up a sample so people will know what they're looking for, Phil?
Absolutely.
I've seen them and I've been trying to retweet them. And guys, remember, you have to set aside time to retweet because I think Twitter only allows you so many retweets at a time. So even if you're just sitting there for 5 minutes, do as many as you can in that 5-minute interval, and then come back to it every chance you get that day until you get as many done that day as you can or as you want.
That's right. That's I've got it up on the screen now. The Twitter room is at Winning TV R. You can see that here at Winning TV R. It's a Winning TV meme war room. So all we have in here are memes of each candidate and for each district and the senators as well that are up for election. The senator Republicans running and all of the districts, the congressmen and congresswomen
I've been
that are running.
retweeting all of the Texas ones.
Well, you got to
and I need
retweet
to start
all of
going
the
in
states.
and retweeting the Oklahoma.
Yes, all of the states. You got to do all of the states.
Yes, but I'm just saying I have a lot of people that follow me that are my neighbors that I've been retweeting specifically for them to see. But yes, we do need to retweet them all because You don't know who's lurking in your follow list.
That's right. So we out in the chat, I see real Tet Dur. You sent myself flaccid. Frank 45, Purnell the Patriot, and David 6661369. Now we normally are on at 11 a.m. Eastern time, but because of a work schedule this week, I had to switch to 3:30. So next week we'll be back at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday and Thursdays.
With your other internet wife that you're cheating on me with.
No, that's an internet friend.
Miss Sandra. I love her.
That's an internet
She
friend.
Yes. Okay. Well, what have we got on the tutor for today?
Okay, we're gonna go continue with our walkaway videos. So I've got a walkaway video queued up here in a second. Hold on, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Let's see what this lovely young lady has to say. Former Democrat.
I love hearing their stories.
I grew up Democrat. My family was Democrats. My mom grew up Democrat.
That's what we've been saying every week, Doc. Twice a week is there are a lot of former Democrats switching over. We just have to be welcoming to them. Yeah. I think they all notice when they come over that things are a lot different on our side as opposed to what they were told about us.
Yes. And what they've experienced from their own side, from their own party. That's why they're leaving them. And yes, I agree totally. We have got to be warm. We've got to be welcoming. We've got to help them get educated about the truth. Because remember, if they're coming from the left, they have probably been listening way too much to mainstream media and places that are not giving them accurate news. So we've got to slowly help them get up to speed and gently red pill them, be warm and welcoming. Because remember, our tent is big enough for everybody.
Absolutely right. So we have to, like this young lady saying, her entire family was Democrat for decades.
Mm-hmm.
So
we were just discussing that last night. My family, because the Democrats back in the day is not what the Democrats are today. Democrats in the past have been more along the positions of what Republicans or conservatives are today. I can remember even as a child that my family was Democrat. It meant something different then. And slowly but surely, they have moved to the progressive side, leaving really only the blue dog Democrats. They're the only ones that kind of have any remnants of what the Democrat Party used to be. But now, the roles have really reversed again. Because think about it, back in Abe Lincoln's day, a Republican was different than a Democrat. And it slowly changed, and it's changing back. And I don't ascribe to being a conservative. I ascribe to being a conservative. I am fiscally and socially conservative. Regardless, though, of whether we agree on all fine points or not, I don't care if you agree with me on the main points or the majority of the points. I am going to love you. I am going to appreciate you, and I'm come alongside you to further the MAGA movement. And that's what we've got to do to all these people coming from the Democrat Party that are leaving in droves.
Yes, they are. And when you say moving toward the progressive, what that really is moving toward the socialist, communist side.
Communist side.
Calling it really progressive is like taking socialist crap, wrapping it in shiny foil, and calling it progressive.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Their true name really should be regressive, because they're regressing in that all they do is take away your rights. All they do is limit your freedom. All they do is want to kill your kids. All they do is want to charge you higher taxes. They don't want to do anything that promotes freedom, independence, lower taxes, smaller government, love of family, God, and everything holy. That is not them. They are the party of regression. They are the party of takeaway. They are the party of taking away your freedoms and wanting to impose on you PC culture. That's all they are.
Well, they definitely aren't for the working class Americans, the blue collar Americans any longer. They are for the illegal immigrants. You saw them flat out say they will give illegals free health care, free this, free that, free college for illegal immigrants. What about Americans?
Mayor Garcetti.
Yep.
Look at Mayor Garcetti and them stood up this week in a publicly televised spot and sat there and told the illegal aliens in their city that they stand with them, that they will not assist ICE, that they will not, participate in that at all, and that basically they have nothing to fear, that they welcome them. So they are antithetical to everything that we are trying to do and everything, because they know that that's their future voting bloc. Not Americans, because educated Americans, everyday Americans, the lifeblood of this country, we're waking up. We're not the silent, sleeping majority any longer. We have our eyes wide open, and we see who they are, what they are, and what they've been doing. And we're going to stop them with this election. So I will stop talking and let you roll her clip, because I'm very anxious to hear anybody that has the good sense to leave that negative party and come to the light.
Hello, Tigress and Paw Prince. Welcome aboard. Okay, we'll continue on with her
And Arian
video.
Jones is here.
We did get 9 seconds in so far of the video.
Oh, har. I have to take up all my room and Sandra's on her behalf.
My
See
dad
how
is
that
a minority. So, that's just who we were supposed to be. Anyhow, I hear my husband coming up the road. It's like 2 miles away, but I can hear his motorcycle. So anyhow, my dad's a minority. That's where I left off. So he's a minority, and that's just the way, we believe. The way everybody, I think, is taught who has had a democratic history. You believe that they're for the little people, they're for the working class, and the Republicans are the rich white elitists who really don't care. So my first moment, my meander, I didn't really walk away. It was a big journey. It was a very slow process. 2001 happened. My brother had just joined the military that summer, so I was very scared for him. I was very scared for our nation. I started really paying attention then, and just, I felt it very important to become supportive and involved with what was going on. But I did have a lot of kids and a lot of responsibilities, so I really wasn't as involved as I should be. But I did start reading a lot of history around that time. My first real clash with the Democratic Party, real clash, came when my husband and I tried to start our own business. There's a lot of startup costs, a lot of not a lot of profit right at first, right? You're trying to build. So things were tough. We didn't have insurance because we weren't working, at a regular job that provided insurance, consistent, steady paycheck. So there came a point where my husband looked at me and said, I think we're going to have to get on welfare for a little while. The kids need insurance. We need a little help. So I went down and applied. And this was my first real moment. My caseworker, the lady who looked over all my paperwork when I finally got called in, looked at it and said, so you're married? And I was like, yes, ma'am, I'm married. And she asked me if I was happy. And I was like, yeah, what kind of question is that? Most of the time, of course, nobody's perfect. We have our issues, but yeah, we're happily married. And she goes, well, if you weren't married, if you were a single mother, you guys would make a whole lot more benefits. And I was like, what? But I'm married. I love my husband. And she's like, well, wait, it's not like we go in and check your homes. We're not going to check to see who's living there.
There's a government official telling you how to bilk the system. Get divorced,
Yes,
live
and
together,
promote
and collect
the
benefits.
destabilization of the family. I mean, everything antithetical to what we believe.
Hey, how you doing, RM Johns? Welcome aboard. Yes, this is disturbing, but they have to do this to keep the money coming in, right? And to keep their government job. Quite frankly, if there wasn't as much welfare benefit out there and food stamps, then, because people didn't need it, then they wouldn't need half of the government employees that they have.
That's right. That's right. The ones that we can never fire, that have better benefits and better retirement packages than the private sector these days. And it's not supposed to be that way. If you're working in the government, you're supposed to be doing it to serve your country. I'm not saying not to make a fair wage or a decent living, but you should not be able to make a better benefits package and twice the money or 3 times the money in government service that you would make in the private sector. It should not be that way. Just like they should not be teaching people how to build the system. All they have done is break the backs of middle class America. They get us coming and going. And that's another reason why we've got to vote them out. We've got to vote red in November.
Now, I'm going to make a strong assumption about this young lady. I think their family is an honest, hardworking family that just went down to get a little help because, remember, Obamacare required you to have insurance. And if you didn't have it, they whacked you with a $2,500 fine or something ridiculous like that.
Well, they charged you so much the first year, and then every year you didn't have insurance.
But
the penalty kept rising.
But Doc, you're forgetting it's dependent on how many people are in your family. So if they have 2 or 3 children on top of it, I think you get whacked even harder.
Well, and I will tell you this, I'm an insurance broker, and we sell life and health. And with Obamacare, I have had to sit there and look a little single mother in the face as she told me that she could not afford dental insurance for her kids because she needed to put food on the table. And I had to look her in the face and tell her that because our president thought he knew better, that I was required to sign her child up for dental insurance whether she could afford it or not. I was required by law. There is something wrong with that picture. I grew up without dental insurance. And no, I don't have the most beautiful teeth in the world. I come from West Texas. And in West Texas, we have way too much fluoride in the water. So it stains your teeth kind of from the inside out. It's a long story. But not having dental insurance is not going to kill a family. Not being able to eat is. And I will tell you, when they stopped requiring the penalty and the mandate under our current president, who is utterly horrified at the state of insurance affairs after Obama, he is making drastic changes already to at least alleviate it until we take the House back and we take the Senate back so that we can reform the insurance industry and bring in better. I could tell you a million different ways of things that we could implement that would lower the costs of insurance and of healthcare. Easy fixes that Obama did not care what it cost people, did not care what jobs it killed. They were requiring that the employer offer it and requiring whether I could care less if I have maternity coverage. At this point, honey, if I hatch a chicklet, that one's gonna go in the history books. I don't need that coverage. But with Obamacare, remember, you're forced to take everything the same. Everybody's forced to have the same because that's what the regressive socialist communists that we call the Democrat Party these days, that's what they believe. They believe everybody should have the same. Nobody should have anything different or anything better or anything worse. They think they know better than everybody, including you. And that's why this work is so important, that we make sure that we get the most conservative candidates elected on primary day, and then vote total red in November.
Yes, one of the things that surprised me, the Democrats completely shot down allowing insurance companies to go over state lines. Because,
and that is one of the things, competition always drives down cost, Bill.
Well, when I worked in corporate America, we were, of course, a worldwide company. So in the United States, what they had for insurance for California employees was far better than what we had in New York. But we couldn't get that California insurance because it was against the law for that company in California to do business in New York.
That's right. On our major medical cases that my sister and I take care of, one of our prominent carriers is Blue Cross Blue Shield. They're a nonprofit. So they usually have some of the best rates. But when I'm working in a different state, I have to go to that Blue Cross of that state because they're not allowed to have one Blue Cross that services. That would make too much sense. That would promote better rates, a more continuity of service and of product. I mean, there's so many ways that would help. But again, remember that regressive socialist communist party called the Democrats, they don't care. They are going to tell you what you can have. They're going to tell you what you're allowed. Just like with Bloomberg, the mask is being ripped away slowly but surely. Just like with Bloomberg saying, giving the example of a 95-year-old person coming down with prostate cancer and telling everyone that they should refuse service because we can't afford it. Do you remember what we've discussed on MAGA Promises Kept the last few months? We told you that this was coming, that not only were they going to manage the care, but that they were going to be coming for the elderly and for the special needs kids next. They're going to be saying, oh, they don't contribute to society. We shouldn't spend any of our money on them. They're near the end of life, so they don't deserve care because we can't afford it. Well, I think if it was your family, you'd feel a lot different than that. So that's another reason why we've just got to fight harder as they expose themselves, because the prime opportunity time to take advantage of that, of their weakness, is exactly at this time, right before the elections, when they're their weakest point. We got to hit them hard. We got to keep hitting them until they go down on November 3rd.
What they're neglecting to also tell you is that if it's one of their family members, they will be taken care of, but not yours.
Just like RGB.
Yep.
You know, we know that nobody, barely 5% of people are alive that are diagnosed with pancreatic cancer 5 years after they're alive. The woman has survived bout after bout after bout, fall after fall, all of it. And anyone who reads Q knows that Q has said that the reason she is alive today is because of off-the-market drugs. That is not hard to believe, because you know that they make sure that their families get the best of care, but they don't care what your families get. They don't care if your families die waiting on the treatment. What irritates me the most is when they talk about social, what they call Medicare for All, which is really basically single payer system. They're just trying to package it to make it more palatable. And, they tout Canada and all these places. What they don't tell you is, and I've been in Canada, I've talked to Canadians, I know, they tell you even with what the government gives them, they still have to buy their own medical supplement to cover the things that their socialistic medicine program doesn't cover, which is a lot. And they still die waiting on treatments. That's why everybody tries to come to America for treatment. Don't let them tell you any different. No matter what they give you, it isn't going to be enough. It isn't going to be enough to keep you alive. It isn't going to be enough that you can afford the care once they give it to you. Who on Obamacare, you have a $6,000 deductible, and then you have your out-of-pocket expenses that come along with that. And people don't realize that even that $6,000, which they don't have to begin with, is going to be the tip of the iceberg of a bill that you walk out of the hospital with. There's so many hidden costs, so many things they don't cover inside the policy that they have adroitly covered so you wouldn't know they were screwing you. Well, I'm sorry, I'm a little feisty today, and I hate to say this in the afternoon, but if you're going to screw me, kiss me first. Don't sit there and lie to me first and tell me that pig's ear is a silk purse, because I know better.
One of my Canadian customers said, a government takeover of healthcare, Medicare for all. He lives here in the United States, but he's from Canada. He has the accent and everything to prove it. Everything's A. Nicest guy you ever met. But he said, you don't want it. Trust me. Why are you people doing this to yourselves?
Everybody dies waiting on treatment.
He said not only that, the taxes they whack you with up in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
He said, good grief, you don't want it here. Why are you doing this to yourselves? Stop touting our healthcare as great. He said, it's not.
It isn't. And what they get from the government is only half of what they have to have. So you still have to buy a supplement. So them telling you that you're going to get free health care is BS. I'm an insurance broker. I know. I'm telling you.
End result
every
is,
day.
If Obamacare was so great, why did the politicians exempt themselves from it?
Exactly.
Well, let's get back to this lovely young lady that's walking away that we ignored for the last 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
You're just divorced on paper. And I mean, these things were literally spoken. And I remember sitting there thinking just, wow. And I didn't even realize how important what she was saying was. At the time, I was just kind of blown away for myself. You know, like, I'm supposed to get divorced to make more food stamps, really? And one of the things that stuck out to me and why it was a move away from the Democratic side was she had a John Kerry sticker on one of her notebooks on the desk, and it was somebody I was going to vote for too. So it was a similarity that I'd seen between me and her, and then these things were said, and yeah, I was a little upset about them. So anyhow, that happened. I went home and told my husband, and he was like, wow, you know, we discussed it. Hindsight's 2020. You know, it became a big moment later when we realized how important that was. The next moment came 4 or 5 months later when things were better. I mean, we weren't millionaires, but we were in a better spot. We were making our bills, paying, you know, we were more secure. We had bought insurance for ourselves.
I stopped it for 1 second. Tigress is asking who the woman is talking. It's one of Brandon Straka's walkaway videos, one of his testimonials. So she was a lifelong Democrat. Her family were all Democrats for what would she say, generations? Doc?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll continue on. Tigress, you'll hear this in about 20 seconds.
And my husband and I discussed and decided it was time to close our account. That's not the word, but you know what I'm saying. Close out our benefits. And I went down to do that, and the lady was blown away. She was like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, because we don't need it anymore. And then she was like, well, you do know you have you can have this for a year before you have to renew. And having that extra money at least for a year, will just help. It'll make things easier. And I'm like, but we don't need it. And she said, specifically, she said, but it's free. And I'm not a genius. I'm not somebody who knows a lot about really anything. But
I'm going to stop it there because it's free. What are the Dems telling you in the debates? Free.
Free.
Free
Nothing's
healthcare.
free. Nothing's free.
Free college.
Nothing's free.
Free the free what is it? Babysitting or whatever you want to call it. Childcare.
Mm-hmm.
This woman realized, what? Free? How's it free? Somebody pays.
That's right.
And if you
We all
think
do.
billionaires and millionaires are going to pay for all this stuff, I almost said a bad word, then you're living on Mars and not in touch with reality, because we're all going to pay for it.
That's right.
If you took 100% of earned income from all billionaires and millionaires in the United States, it won't even cover the college debt forgiveness. Period.
Right.
That's a fact. And they want to run the new Green Deal. That's $93 trillion on top of the $1 trillion, $1.3 trillion, plus the healthcare, free healthcare, or so-called free healthcare, is another $13 trillion. Now we're talking 20? We're up to $120 trillion. Where the hell's that going to come from?
That's more than we collect in taxes, or the federal government does. For I can't remember how many years they said. It was a lot. That's more than we take in 1 year, and that's not even true, because remember, they only use American citizens in those numbers, but they're wanting to give it to everybody, plus anybody else that wants to come to our country.
That's
because
right.
remember, they don't believe in borders, so it isn't just even the they claim 11 million or 20. I've even heard 21 million out of some of them, but we know that number is much, much higher. I've heard estimates as high as 45 million illegal aliens in this country, and they want to leave the border open for anybody else that wants to come. Anybody. They think anybody should be able to come to America. So when the whole freaking world starts coming, and we have to provide free health care for all of them too, and free medical benefits, and free housing, where is all of that going to come from? It is going to bankrupt our country, number one, but they're going to drain us dry with taxing us to death, the middle class America. It won't be them. They'll be all fleeing. It'll be all of us left in a hole, a shell of a country that we used to call America.
I hate to bring up this example, but remember Venezuela. Everybody touted Venezuela as the example of the new socialism. They took over the oil, the government, they took over everything, and people are now, starving to death? Do you think that's not going to...
And their zoo animals.
And
they don't even have toilet paper. Did you not hear about that big heist they had the other day where they were just stealing toilet paper, for goodness sake?
Let me tell you, there's Twitter fools out there that are saying it's a different kind of socialism we'll have here.
Oh, bull.
Yeah, it's socialism.
There is no other
it's
kind.
Failed everywhere it's been tried. There is no different kind of socialism. In the end, we're all going to pay.
Socialism really ends up being communism. Do they not see? Do you go back and read your history books? I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see. I don't care if they took every millionaire and billionaire we had in America, it wouldn't be enough money to do what they're proposing. And how are you going to do all of that with them implementing the Green New Deal? And we're not going to have cars. We're not going to have, planes. We're not going to have any of that. How are you going to do all this with no economy, no jobs?
Exactly. And that's what the people of Venezuela are facing now. Everything was supposed to be great. Yeah, all this money's flowing in. Where'd the money go for the oil? Disappeared. The people at the top took it and ran. You don't think that's... Oh, it won't happen here, though. It'll be a different socialism. Be different. Right. It'll be different this time.
Look at what happened in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
I mean, excuse me, was the mayor and all of them up there trashing our wonderful president, saying that he wasn't doing enough when he did more for them than he's done for anybody else's hurricanes? And then to come to find out that those wonderful socialist Democrat communists over there had been hiding all of the aid and taking the monies for themselves while the poor people suffered. That's what they'll do to us. Just like they'll start limiting. And they won't stop with old people saying, no, you can't have medical treatment. It'll start inching its way on up. Nobody will be safe.
Well, look at, is it Iceland? If you have a child that you know is going to have cerebral palsy, you can abort it, no matter what the time frame is.
They encourage you to.
Yes.
Yes, they encourage you to.
Yes. That's socialism right there.
Instead of seeing that as a gift from God, they see it as a liability.
I also saw a tweet from somebody touting how Finland and all these countries, Switzerland, they have awesome hair. Everybody's happy. Bull. Mm-hmm. When you actually hear from the people instead of these ridiculous graphs they put up, when you actually hear from the people who live there and find out that if you make $70,000, about 60 of it goes to the government, and you're expected to live on 10. Yeah, that's how it works in Finland and these countries.
It sure does. I have a lot of customers.
If it was so great, why aren't Mexicans running to Finland or trying to get there? Do you
see anybody dying to get into these other countries like they are America? No.
That's right. You don't see people trying to cross into Finland, do you? Or Switzerland.
Not at any cost. I mean, you may see some immigrants fleeing, and then
some of those countries are forced to take them if they're in the EU.
Exactly. And we know the globalists designed that too. So whatever they push, you pretty much know that the opposite is the best course of action or the truth.
R.M. Johns is 100% right.
Nothing that they're going to encourage you to do is going to be equal to what they will take for themselves.
Now, as a father of a special needs child, and a lot of people might not know that, but I would never, ever, even if they told me he was going to be a problem, and he's not a problem. He's probably the nicest kid you ever meet in your life.
He's precious.
Never asks for anything. He's a really good kid. And if I was in Iceland, they'd say, just abort him. Get rid of him. And they almost force you to do it. Is that the kind of America we want? Because that's what's going to happen under a Bernie Sanders or a Liz Warren or a Pete Buttigieg or a Michael Bloomberg. They're all socialists. None of those people on this stage are moderate. Don't believe the media. None of them are moderate.
That's right. And Phil, I just want to say one more thing. I see special needs children and their parents in such a different light. I see you as a person that God considered special enough to be the father to a special needs kid. I don't see you as an average dad. I see you as a superhero dad, because God knew that you would love that child as the blessing that he is, and that you would see the beauty in the gift he gave you instead of seeing it as a liability to kill either in the womb or out. Because I tweeted something out yesterday. There was a lady that is a Democrat, and she was tweeting how her and her friends went and saved these chickens that were being taken to the slaughterhouse, and thought that was so great. And then in her next tweet, she was applauding Melissa Olano, saying that her standing up for abortion so that a woman can have an abortion at any time during the pregnancy or any time after the baby's born. Anytime. That means you could murder your 10-year-old and call it an abortion. After the birth, when you kill that being that can live on its own, that's murder. That's not even an abortion. That's murder. They're just trying to use that term to make it tidier and neater. But to me, people that are blessed with a special needs child are people that God thought was special enough to see what a gift they are. Their life has meaning. Their life has value. And only cold-hearted monsters would try to tell you different.
Now think about that if you're in the audience listening. They were excited about saving chickens, and in the next breath, we're talking about killing babies.
At any time.
How awesome it was that this Milano had 3 abortions.
Yeah. And it absolutely horrified me. I just thought, you know what? Can you not? I mean, if I heard that come out of somebody's mouth in real life, I don't know what I would do. I would run thinking they were a monster. I would gasp. I would be mortified. I would be angered. I might start shrieking right there and run naked down the street barking at people. I'd be so horrified. I wouldn't know what to do if I heard that out of a live human being's mouth. And luckily where I live, I guess I've run into a lot more normal human beings. I just don't think that you would ever hear that. But up in these areas where they have lied to our youth that is not a real baby, how can you say that about a living human being that can live outside the womb on its own? When you see those sweet little precious babies, or you have a friend that invites you to a baby shower or calls you jubilant to say, I'm pregnant, and the happiness, I'd be afraid to tell a monster like that if I had good news, because she'd say, oh, that's okay. If it ever gets to be a burden, just kill it. Don't worry about it. That's what
right.
she'd say.
But she's celebrating animals that should be in a bucket and breaded over children. Right? Chickens are meant to be breaded, fried, and eaten.
Deep fried. Yep. And you know what? I love, that there is not a critter God made except for snakes and spiders that I probably wouldn't like. Or that one scaly, I don't even know what it was, that one scaly Chinese thing that we saw on the internet that time that could break through the cement wall. Oh, that thing just horrified me. But any other critter I pretty much like, except for Woody the Woodpecker. But that was only because he declared war on me. But all other critters I love. But even I say, God gave us animals for our enjoyment and for sustaining our lives. And that means you eat them.
I'm sorry, Doc, but I see a cow and I see 2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese.
I see one that moves as he passes over the flame to my plate as a steak. I like my steak still moving.
Let's get back to this lovely young lady that we've ignored for 10 minutes again.
Yes, I'm sorry.
All right,
all
folks.
Excited to be on this Redwave show.
We'll do a little Chris Mack. Roll tape.
Even in my youth and naivety at that time, I was like, this is not free money. This is money that the taxpayers have paid in to help people who need it.
By the way, that's what got us off track, is the free money.
I needed help. I don't need it anymore. And she was like, well, I've never in my 30-some years of working in this department have ever had anybody come in and close their benefits before it was time. I was like, well, now you have, when things were better. I mean, we weren't millionaires, but we were in a better spot. We were making our bills. paying, we were
I think we
time
jumped
though still.
backwards there.
I've never felt like I had to be quiet or hide what I felt. I could not vote for Barack because Barack
Hold on, let me find
another
out
moment
where
for
we
me.
were.
Then Barack happened. She was like, well, I've never
here we
in
go.
my 30-some years of working in this department have ever had anybody come in and close their benefits before it was time. I was like, well, now you have, Later, it ended up being a fight. It took me actually 3 months because every time the month would renew, I'd check to see if it was closed, and it wasn't. I had to call. I had to go down there again. It was ridiculous. That was another moment for me. Then Barack happened. When Barack happened, a lot of people jumped on that train. I was excited to see a black man running for the presidency. I really thought, oh my gosh, this is really cool. Hillary was running too. I've never liked Hillary. I grew up on the East Coast, but I've lived in Arkansas and the Oklahoma area since I was in my young teens. And I was really excited until he got to talking. And when he got to talking, I mean, he was so charming. He was so charming. But, and this is going to sound so stupid, but I could not vote for Barack because Barack reminded me of my ex-boyfriend. His mannerisms, his way of speaking, his facial expressions, his smirk. I did not vote for Barack Obama, not because he was black, but because he reminded me of my ex, who was a snake charmer. He was somebody that you would want to believe he was so charming, but he was so fake and such a liar. And that's why I didn't vote for him. Not because he was black, but because he reminded me of Michael Todd.
She turned out to be right. He lied constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and he is a
anyhow,
I was never think he's charming.
Well, he had a lot of charisma, and people bought into it.
I saw where they did, yes.
Yeah.
But I just always saw through him. Worst state ever he was ever elected.
And at that time, though, still, I've never felt like I had to be quiet or hide what I felt, who I voted for. And I was still, like I said, I was still kind of Democratic, but I was learning. I was reading. I was getting really involved with the things started happening during his administration and Fast and Furious and Benghazi and the Affordable Care Act and all the executive orders. It was just, I really started paying attention. And then Trump happened, and I thought that was a joke. I was initially a never Trumper. This was not serious. This guy's personality is just, oh. And then, but we had a lot to choose from then. You had Cruz and Ben Carson. I really liked Ben Carson. I liked Rubio. I liked Cruz. Didn't like Trump. Wasn't gonna vote for Hillary. Had learned enough researching. I wasn't gonna vote for Bernie. I'm not voting for socialism, even if you throw the word democratic in front of it. But we had a lot to choose from until Trump won the Republican ticket. And I was like, oh my Lord, this can't be happening. I eventually just got really quiet. I could see people starting to freak out, see it going wild, see people getting very, very, very bizarre. And, but I wasn't going to vote for Hillary, ever, ever, ever. She's just a corrupt, lying, she's just all kinds of wrong. And I know as a woman that means I voted against my womanhood or whatever. But Hillary was just evil. And I wasn't going to vote for her. So when I got in that booth, I kind of had to plug my nose and vote for Trump. And honestly, I didn't think he was going to win. Of course, that's what the polls told us. But then lo and behold, he did win. And then the whole world went crazy. It went insane. And I went from feeling like I could discuss my opinions and my thoughts. And I had some really, really good debates with people. People have changed my mind when I've seen different things along the way, one way or the other. I can't do that anymore. On my Facebook page, I pretty much, until this campaign happened, had not said anything. I've been afraid. I live in Oklahoma. See, this is Oklahoma behind me. See?
That's a Tea Party thing right there. People were afraid to actually say what they felt. There were people that wanted to join, but were told it's a racist organization. Don't you dare join that. People would join in secret.
Wow.
But I think Trump, if he had appeared during the Tea Party, might have changed all of that. But I think America needed to be beat up a little bit more with Barack Obama.
Yeah, I do too. I think they had to be for us to reach the end of our straw.
Yes, absolutely.
That's my
Notice
yard.
I didn't say end of the rope.
Oh, jeez.
I used a straw, I hope, and it's plastic. I hope it just eats away at them.
Just don't use a plastic bag in New York State after March 1st or something.
Are you serious?
Yep, they're banning them. No more plastic bags in New York.
Well, what are y'all going to pick up dog poop with?
I don't know.
They just tell you how to live every which way up there, don't they?
I don't know what they're going to do about garbage bags because nobody's even asked the question. If you're banning all plastic bags,
that means you have to go to paper.
So what do you do about a trash bag? It's a plastic bag, right?
Back in the day, we used to use paper bags from the grocery store in the trash can, but they're really short and you can't get much in there.
Well, that doesn't work if you
want to do that. What are they saying they're going to use? Have they told you?
No, not yet. But if you put food
are they going to have recyclable trash can bags?
The food will. You go to pick up the bag and it'll all rip all over the place, right?
Yeah, well.
We'll see.
And fruit comes in bags. There's so many things that come in bags.
Believe me, folks, I live in New York. You don't want any of these Democrat candidates to win. They're socialists. I live in the socialist state of New York right now. You don't want it.
Bless your heart. Yep. When all those Californians start heading to Texas, I tell them no. Oklahoma's cheaper. Y'all go live over there. I keep trying to herd them to Oklahoma. We don't need any more. We do not, because they're trying to flood Texas to turn us purple or blue.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. And y'all, they are not far from succeeding.
You just ran from socialism and you're trying to create it somewhere else. Really?
Yes, exactly. But they're trying between, blue people moving in and illegal aliens. Do not, if you believe that we are not flat overrun with them in Texas already, you are fooling yourself.
They need the ICE army down in Texas to send them all back home.
It would take an army. It would take more than an army probably to round them all up, because when I worked in my prior career to insurance, I managed to dropout prevention program in a high school in downtown Dallas. It had the widest diversity of students of any high school in the nation. And the most prominent group was illegal aliens. In fact, they didn't have enough room, so they had to go take over another city block, build a special high school just for illegal aliens or kids that did not speak English, hired a whole staff of teachers, assistants, admin, all of that, just basically built a huge high school for illegal aliens is what they did, just to accommodate them. So I'm telling you, it's imperative that we start taking back our states so that we maintain an even distribution as much as we can of conservative voters.
Well, Doc, I got to tell you, you have to let R.M. Johns come in. No, she's moving from California to Texas.
Well, I will tell you this, Orange Jones knows that I will roll out the welcome mat for her. She can come anytime she wants to. I'll give her a map to Texas, and I really won't put in a separate line to Oklahoma. I promise you.
Let's get back to it. Roll tape. Roll tape.
And our business is right over the state line in Arkansas. And believe it or not, I know most people may think we're all redneck hillbillies, but our area is extremely diverse. I've always looked at a person as a person. That's just who I am. I've never bought into that victim narrative that you were somehow oppressed. You're as oppressed as you allow yourself to be. You are as unequal, not equal to somebody else as you allow yourself to be. I've always looked and thought, and I don't know why some people want to think that they aren't as valuable or worthy. But I've never believed that a black person was less than a white person or a Hispanic person was less than a white person. Never. They're just as valuable and worthy and capable and talented and intelligent as anybody else. And that's why I moved to conservatism. A lot of people on the left believe that that's what the liberal platform was, and that's what they told everybody it was. It wasn't. That's the conservative platform. Equal opportunities for all. They fight for the individual. They believe in a secure country and a stable economy. And yes, we do have some Republicans on our side who are extreme, who are anti-American, in my opinion, which is why I don't actually say I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative. And we have our own issues too, but in the conservative platform, I think you guys are beginning to find out. But I found out a couple of years ago, anyways, that they are the most welcoming and inclusive and diverse in real freedom, in real individuality. They want you with them, even if you don't agree. It's a lot more tolerant and respectful in real ways. So that's why I walked away. And I encourage you to as well. Sorry. Just walk away from the hate, from the violence, from the vitriol. Where you end up walking to that's your choice. You don't have to become a Republican. You can become whatever you want. It's your journey. We're just here to support you and encourage you along the way and to walk with you.
Oh, I love that. Oh, she was preaching the truth. Amen, Sister Sue.
I agree, but this time, this election, we are asking everyone to vote Republican. We have to. We have to stop the communist socialist scourge that's coming.
That's right.
And in order to do that, don't worry about if once we go through the primaries, if the candidate is the right person, Trump will lead them in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. He surely will. They have ways of putting pressure on them. But I really appreciated her attitude and her outlook on life. I think it's so wonderful to see in other people, and it's something we really need to teach our youth, and that is that anything you work for, it means so much more than anything you're ever given. Anything you're given is not going to be of value to you much for long. You know, when Haley was young, iPads were just coming out and stuff, and she had a little friend that her parents bought her an iPad when they first came out. You know, they were real expensive. And so Haley came home from school going, Mom, guess what? Allison's family is buying her an iPad. Would you and Dad buy me one? And I said, well, probably not, but let me talk to Dad about it. So I was talking to my husband, and he said, well, those are very expensive right then. I said, yes. And we agreed that we wanted her to have to work for it. So I just told her, I said, Haley, you know, if in our family, we provide you the basics, but if you want something extra like that, that's something you're going to have to work and save for. And it was like waving a red flag in front of a bull. That kid went to work. She did everything from clean out flower beds to mow lawns to pet sit to anything to make extra money. And within 4 months, she had saved up almost $500, enough to buy the iPad. And when we made it a big special outing as a family. When we went to get it, we went out to eat and then went to help her buy it, all that kind of thing. I will never forget the look on her face on the way home when she opened that iPad and she said, you know what, Mom, I see what you mean. You know, Allison has already cracked her iPad and throws it around like it's nothing. She said, I understand now the value of money now that I've had to work for it. And I'm so glad that you and Dad made me work for it and didn't just give it to me. And that was such a proud moment for me as you know, as a mother, that my child saw the value of working for something versus being given something. So I think that's another reason why we've just got to be standing on red come November.
That's right. We got one more quick walkaway video here, and then we'll talk about the Twitter room and the meme war room and Telegram and the other shows out there. We're running a little bit over, but that's okay. We have Doc Martin on, my internet wife here. So.
Oh, you are so cute. Thank you. Now that gave you back some brownie points you've lost when you told me where I was old or needed extra war paint.
And don't pay attention to anything anybody tells you that I said.
Oh, really?
Yeah, last night in the Daily Boogie, I said something. Boogie said, "What should I use for a?" He was showing a scope called Life Window, where it's about a crack alley, and all this guy does is run a camera and speakers on this crack alley. And he's got like 500 viewers, even when it's raining and nobody's in the alley. So you can donate. So Boogie said, I'm going to donate. And I said, okay. He asked for, what should I put out there? Because if you donate, you can pick a soundbite. So I said, pick the guy at NASCAR, the preacher that was saying that I have a hot smoking wife.
I didn't see him.
And Monica 3 said, I'm telling Doc Martin on you.
Okay, thank you, Monica. Appreciate you looking out for me. We'll talk later, doll.
You got spies all over the place watching me.
You know I do. I'm the queen bee. Did you doubt me?
Yeah. Oh, Kimmy Y Censored was there. Yeah, I wanted to put wanted him to put the preacher from NASCAR out on the speakers in the crack alley.
Remind me, which preacher was it?
The guy that said, I have a smoking hot, thank God I have a smoking hot wife.
I missed it. Well, at least he thinks his wife is hot. Yeah. A woman never turns that down, ever.
So let's roll this one. Roll tape. Roll tape.
But
speaking of roll tape, I did talk to Chris Mack yesterday, and he will be on, I think, Speakeasy in the next couple of weeks. So just keep an eye out. We'll have the preacher man on.
Aww.
When he started paying more attention to the wrong things that my parents taught me was wrong to begin with, when the Democratic Party booed God, couldn't do it. When they disrespected our elders, I couldn't do it. When they was passing taxes that I couldn't afford, I couldn't do it. When they started putting Common Core in schools, I couldn't do it. It made me walk away. And I was wondering where the vitriol and the hatred came from and why it was directed because someone don't believe like you believe. I couldn't do it anymore. And I had to walk away. I'm not saying Mitt Romney or John McCain was the way to go because I'm at the grassroots level. I love being a Republican and I love being a Tea Party. There's no vitriol or hate over here. There's no racism or racist people over here that I have personally came up against. I'm sure they might be closets, but they never told me anything differently. No, the white man is that bad. No, the white man's not that bad. You can't have that mentality that the Democratic Party and the Democratic Socialists of America have towards the foundation of America. Ever since I switched parties, I've saw a big difference when it comes to the Democratic style of leadership and when it comes to the Republican style of leadership. Majority of the time, it's the two same faces on each side of the coin. But my side ain't spitting hatred every single day. My side isn't dividing the United States of America. My side loves that flag. My side loves the Constitution. My side loves the Bill of Rights. And I love my president. I always said, I walked away a long time ago. I just got louder and bolder. And I'm going to need everybody that's out there walking away. The people that are on the fence, that don't know what side they want to be on.
Wow.
Wow.
Worked for a
That
former
was
Obama
powerful.
activist, too.
That was powerful.
Well, we're going to wrap it up
And
here.
see, she was exactly right. We got to stand on the right side, guys. We've got the better position. We've got the everything about what we're selling is good and bright and decent, and everything they're peddling is lies and the loss of your freedoms, all of our freedoms. So
This is what I wanted.
am so glad to stand on the right side.
This is what I wanted Boogie Bumper to play last night.
Dear Lord, baby Jesus, or as our brothers to the south call you, Jesus, we thank you so much for this bountiful harvest of Domino's, KFC, and the always delicious Taco Bell. I just want to take time to say thank you for my family, my two beautiful, handsome, striking sons, Walker and Texas Ranger, or TR, as we call him. And, of course, my red-hot smoking wife, Carly, who is a stone-cold fox, who, if you were to rate her ass on 100, it would easily be a 94. Also want to thank you for my best friend and teammate, Cal Naughton Jr., who's got my back no matter what.
Shake and bake.
Dear Lord, baby Jesus, we also thank you for my wife's father, Chip. We hope that you can use your baby Jesus powers to heal him and his horrible leg. And it smells terrible, and the dogs are always bothering with it. Dear tiny Jesus.
Hey, sweetie, Jesus did grow up. You don't always have to call him baby. It's a bit odd and off-putting to pray to a baby.
Well, look, I like the Christmas Jesus best, and I'm saying grace. When you say grace, you can say the grown-up Jesus or teenage Jesus or bearded Jesus or whoever you want.
You know what I want? I want you to do this grace good so that God will let us win tomorrow.
Dear tiny Jesus, your golden fleece diapers with your tiny little fat balled up fist
He
pawing
was
at
a man. He had a beard.
Look, I like the baby version the best. Do you hear me? I win the races and I get the money.
Ricky, finish the damn grace.
I like to picture Jesus in a tuxedo T-shirt because it says like
I want to be formal, but I'm here to party too. Because I like to party, so I like my Jesus to party.
I like to picture Jesus as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
I like to think of Jesus like with giant eagle's wings and singing lead vocals for Leonard Skinner with like an angel band. And I'm in the front row and I'm hammered drunk.
Hey, Cal, why don't you just shut up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Dear 8-pound, 6-ounce, newborn infant Jesus. Don't even know a word yet. Just a little infant, so cuddly, but still omnipotent. We just thank you for all the races I've won and the $21.2 million. Woo!
Woo!
Woo! Ow!
Love that money that I have accrued over this past season. Also due to a binding endorsement contract that stipulates I mention Powerade at each grace. I just want to say that Powerade is delicious and it cools you off on a hot summer day. And we look forward to Powerade's release of Mystic Mountain Blueberry. Thank you for all your power and your grace, dear baby God. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Let's dig.
So
I do remember that from a long time ago. I didn't hear it the other day, but I do remember that is so funny.
And just full disclosure, I haven't watched it in a while, but I used to watch NASCAR all the time. Of course, my driver retired. So.
Who was that?
Oh, if I even say, people get upset.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I did sit in his car, though, in Delaware, if that gives you any hint.
Well, it would be lost on me, darling. NASCAR's not really my sport. My sports
no
are things
self-respecting
like shopping.
Southerner doesn't watch NASCAR.
Well, I'm really more into the contact sports like shopping. No, I'm teasing. I used to be, but I'm really not even a shopper anymore. But pretty much the only sport that I'm watching now is two. I watch Texas Tech basketball because, of course, our Red Raiders are the best. Wreck 'em Tech, go Red Raiders, woohoo! Just throwing it out there. And then week by we got the new Excel football. Hey Yankee, are you watching your Excel football team? Do y'all have one yet?
No.
We do. Guess what my team is called? Hello? It's not Cowboys.
The Possums?
Oh, hard. No, we're the Renegades. Isn't that great? Just like on Pirate Radio, the song, but we are the Renegades. We're tough. We're rebels. And we're going to be good. I think they lost the first game, but I didn't see how it went this last weekend. But I'm excited because it'll be something football we can watch again. I don't watch Neilers.
Well, we got to do some shameless self-promotion right now.
Yeah, my favorite.
For the audience here. Don't forget to go to, first off, we'll go through, I lost it. There it is. Winning TV at Winning TV R. Don't forget to retweet those memes, even if it's not your district or state or senator. We need to win big in November to stop the socialism that they're trying to shove down our throats.
The chicanery that's going to be going on.
There is 135 memes there now. I think I'm up to 30 states. So another 20 more states to go, and they'll all be out there. And then once the primaries are completed, we'll put the rest of them out there. So make sure you share those tweets. Also, you can join the Telegram room. Oh, where'd it go? Doc Martin, I lost the Telegram room.
Uh-oh. Find it?
You can join the Redwave show in Telegram. And as soon as Telegram comes up, I'll show you where the memes are in a war room in Telegram as well. There's Telegram. So, really slow coming up here, but you can join the Redwave show in Telegram. Okay? And then we have the Redwave meme war room you can join, and all the memes are there as well. So I've been busy when I have time to create these memes. Thank you, JP, once again, Earth Citizen, for creating the base for the memes. But
yeah, he did a great job, didn't he?
Yes, absolutely. You can see 135 memes are in the Telegram room as well. So we ask you to share those. Spend 10, 15 minutes a day, or even if all you can afford is 15 minutes to a half an hour a week, retweeting these memes.
That's right.
Don't forget to watch UK Neil, The Great Awakening, 5 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. UK's had some really good scopes. I don't know if you've watched any.
I have. And he is doing a great job. Really,
yes, he is.
Has met the call, I'm telling you. So if you haven't been joining him, try to either catch him on replay or his future shows live. You'll really enjoy UK Neil. He's a great patriot.
Yes. No Daily Boogie tonight, although Boogie may pop on. You never know with Boogie Bumper, but that's usually 6 p.m. Monday through Wednesday Eastern Time. Tonight, hopefully we see Kimmy Y Censored on My Favorite Things. I know she's going to change the name of the show, but...
Are we going to be seeing it under My Favorite Things, or are we going to be seeing it under her new title?
I don't know what her new title is.
It is, I'm not sure if she has announced it yet. I can't say because I'm not sure if she's announced it. But if she hasn't already, she will be soon, so be on the lookout.
Yes, I don't think it's My Angry Vag, is it?
No.
Okay.
Oh. Kimmy Angry? No. Never.
Pirate Radio, Friday nights, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget our friend Chris Mack. We love Chris. The Mac Files.
Yes, we do.
Yes, and he's 10 p.m. every night of the week, Monday through Friday. And then he does...
Yes, I think it's usually
10 p.m.? And then he does a Faith and Freedom show, I think, on Sunday.
And he does SmackDown, Spiritual SmackDown with Mark and Mac on Mondays, and that comes on early. It would be probably 7 o'clock your time, and then he replays it again later in the evening and gives live remarks after the end of it. So, and then of course he's on Sundays, and he's got a justice program, so he's got a lot of very good programming. You can find something that you'll like. So be sure and look up our friend.
Just a programming note. Kimmy Y Censored tonight is doing Kurt Cobain, the Crack Alley update. So I might have to get on there because I just want to watch the Crack Alley all day. And then Save Andy and Leader of All Women. Well, I'm not on the show, so how can the Leader of All Women be on that show?
Oh, please. It is getting deep in here. Y'all pick up the hems of your garments, whether it be pants or dresses.
I owe you an apology. Man, I'm sorry about Carly. She walked straight up to me and grabbed me in the crotch.
Oh, my Lord.
Yes.
You have forgotten what time of day it is.
Oh, boy.
Shame on you.
Well, Dak, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.
Oh, my goodness. I'm telling you, we're going to have to start cracking that whip a little harder on you, I'm afraid.
And I don't know if there's going to be a TAV show this Sunday night, but keep your eyes open for a TAV show. I think it's 10 or 11 Eastern time on Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think it's about 11.
About 11? Mm-hmm. I don't think I forgot anybody. Hopefully I didn't.
Other than Mega Promises Kept on Saturday night.
Holy crap! I
with your
forgot my own
favorite
shows.
co-host named Denise Martin.
Yes, Promises Kept Saturday night, 8:00 Eastern time, and then right after that, we could have anybody on from Kimmy to Iceman Russ. You could have on
Anybody that wants to join.
Yeah, anybody that'll be out there. We have a lot of different people on, and next couple of weeks we may have Chris Mack on. So that's Speakeasy.
That would be great.
9 p.m.
Yeah. So come, cousin, discuss all the latest goings on and whatever else comes to our irreverent minds on Saturday nights at I guess it's 10 p.m. Is that right?
It'd be 9 p.m. Eastern time. Yep. And I'm really looking forward to that Crack Alley update tonight on why Censored's my favorite things.
We love our Kimmy.
Yes.
Our very own lookalikes.
All right, folks, we're going to head on out. Thank you for stopping by. We'll catch you on next Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time.
Well, thank you so much for letting me join you today. I certainly did enjoy it. And I hope everybody has a great evening. Y'all don't forget, we've got another rally tonight, too. We've got a rally tonight and tomorrow night with our wonderful fearless leader. So be sure and catch us on the flip side.
Yes, absolutely. Don't forget to catch Kimmy tonight, 11 p.m. Eastern time. Either on D-Live or Periscope. Wherever she chooses to go.
We're going to give her flexibility. Usually, you never know. You never know.
Yes.
But we will all definitely try to catch her. So, all right, we better roll, Yank.
Have a good night, all.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming.
Times, I still would it fires me up, man. I love it one more time. Shake it back! Yeah! Rhymes, both birds, awesome.